be short. So I hate holding this phone up and trying to walk at the same time. Good morning, good morning. So, I checked the comments and stuff. I was getting ready to come out of the home. And saw everybody making comments and giving me cheers and stuff, thank you. The reason why I felt it important instead of just posting a picture to explain how it started is because, well, one of the reasons why I really wanted to share it was last night. You guys know I used to talk a lot about safe surgery and stuff like that. And last year I kind of slowed down because it was just so much hate coming at me, which I knew I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong. But I have a lot, I have a lot going on in my life outside of being a surgeon. And so I just didn't feel like I just got tired of defending myself for trying to save people. So I just kind of focused on other stuff. And then God was doing some work inside of me. The last year, he has done a lot inside of me. And so I was kind of quiet during that time. I know, I used to go live 2-3 times a week, and I would go months without going live. And the live streams turned into my marketing, essentially. It was the most powerful tool I had to draw in business, but I still stopped because I was in the season of a transformation and God wanted me to be quiet. But last night, and it was interesting because during that time, I wasn't seeing as much stuff about people dying as I normally did. I would see it all the time. And then all of a sudden, when he started doing his work in me, I just didn't really see the stuff anymore. But yesterday, oh Lord, did I see it. And I just got re-inflamed and just angry. So this evening, I'm going to go live and talk about that. That's not what this is about. But I wanted to just try to plant the seed that I don't care how together you have it or you seem to have it in your life. Ooh, child, these dogs. Now, I'm not messing with it. Look. These dogs. And they have these invisible fences, a lot of people, and so the dog will run all the way up to the edge, and I'd be like, Lord. They'll run all the way up to the edge, and I'd be like, what I'm gonna do? I bought some mace, but I always forget to bring it. But anyway, but you know what? You see how that devil be trying to get you off course? Right when it was getting good, the dog started barking. That devil will use anything. But anyway, it just made me start thinking about, and I knew this before God started doing all this stuff inside of me. I'm taking a heel, that's why I'm out of breath. But the issue starts in here, why people go to such desperate lengths to change their appearance to the point where they know they can die for real and still go to the places that kill people, because it's the same places. It's not nothing new. It's been the same stuff, and it just seems like I'm almost up the hill. It just seems like it's getting worse and worse, where I would see people dying weekly. Now they're dying daily, and it's just normalized. And women are it's almost like we're human sacrifices. It's just ridiculous. And God is gonna get all those people, surgeons, not surgeons that's doing surgery. They're gonna get it on Judgment Day. He's gonna be like, you were down there doing what to my daughters? And then you can't just blame it on the doctors, because at the end of the day, these are grown women who make a decision to go and put their lives in danger for a bigger butt. If you got a place that just killed somebody yesterday, why would you lay on their table today? And then everybody's mad at the doctor, which we should be, but completely forget that this woman knew that and went and signed a consent form to let him do it. So I was like, okay, it's the inside work. Like I told y'all in the post, I was paying a trainer to come to my house and be like, let's go, Dr. Byla. And I'll be out in the driveway working out 3-4 times a week. And he was giving me a diet which I couldn't stick to. My issue was food, and I did not realize how unhealthy my relationship with food was until I started walking with Jesus. I'm like, why am I gaining weight when I'm doing all these rigorous workouts? And my relationship with food was so bad. I was using food where God should have been. It was an idol. Food was an idol. When I was happy, I wanted food to celebrate. When I was sad, I wanted food to make me feel better. When I was mad, I wanted food to calm me down. Hello. Like, food was that's when you're supposed to go to God. You're supposed to go to God when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're stressed, not to hot wings. And that's what I was doing. And given the life I have, I had one of those things happening all the time. So I was always eating something I had no business. So when I started walking, and the thing that's crazy, God had to break me down to the brake pads to make me even take my butt out there and walk. I mean, it had to get really, really bad in my world and me to get really, really desperate. Kind of like Jonah. He chased me down, and instead of throwing me into the belly of the whale, he threw me out into my neighborhood to walk. And when I started walking, I know when people I say walk with Jesus, most people think, okay, I'm gonna walk and put on gospel music. No, I never walk to music, ever. It's never music. Music is like, it's like I don't even really want to call it an appetizer, because it's not, like, it's good. Obviously, it helps usher in the spirit and stuff like that, which is why I listen to music when I'm getting ready to go. I can listen to the music when I come back home and I'm, getting showered and stuff for my day. But when I'm walking, I'm listening to the steak and potatoes of stuff. So basically the Bible, or I listen to the Bible, or I listen to faith-based books, things to literally fuel my spirit. And it's so crazy how alive the Bible is and how timely it is. You would think it was, it was 2,000 years ago this book was written. More than 2,000 years ago this book was written. You would think that it would be outdated, but it's really not. Like, everything is in there. And so he just started slowly exposing things to me about myself through story in the Bible, things in the Bible. And it would connect to what I was going through, and it would give me revelation about what the issues inside of me were. And it just started changing me. And then while I was doing that, I was fasting. And everybody, you intermittent fasting? No, it's not intermittent fasting. It was a spiritual fast. I didn't allow any of this stuff to be connected to physical stuff. I was not walking to lose weight. I was not fasting to lose weight. I was walking to connect with Jesus. I was fasting to connect with Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And when people would try to put that label on it, I would reject it. Like, no, I'm not intermittent fasting. Oh, it is like intermittent fasting. It's not intermittent fasting. A lot of things that have put the world in the state that it is right now is like the real thing, but it's not the real thing. If you look in Exodus, when Moses was starting to, when Moses started going back and forth to Pharaoh, keeping on asking him to let the people go. It was one time, it's been a while since I read this, it was like the spring, but I remember it was one time where Pharaoh will always call his chief astrologers and seers and whatever, fortune tellers and magicians, and they would do a miracle, or what seemed like a miracle, and then Moses would do it. It was almost like a competition. And I remember one time it was They made some snakes or they made something. And then Moses did it after them and his ate up all of theirs. Because his was real and theirs was like a cheap imitation. Theirs was like Kraft macaroni and cheese and his was like Thanksgiving baked 4 or 5 cheeses macaroni and cheese, the real thing, right? So these things that are like what God is telling us to do but aren't what he's telling us to do are the reason why we are all jacked up. It's the reason why people have made food an idol. It's the reason why people have made butts an idol. Like, this is a sad time we live in when literally a butt, which is behind you, it's behind you. People have become, even doctors, which really makes me sad when I see the stuff that women doctors are doing and saying, because they want one. It's like, it's a butt. Like, we're not about to die for it. Like, you shouldn't be dying for it. Like, if you want it, make sure your soul is right, and then you won't go places that will kill you to get it for cheap, or to get it exaggerated to the point where you don't even look like yourself anymore. You look like somebody else. You know, so that's what I said all of that to say. That's what made me wanted to say, put all those words underneath there explaining how I got to where I got to. Because the reason that I am finally having breakthrough in my life and in my body is because of Jesus. I had to come to the realization that I was going to continue to kill my body and hurt my body with food and not moving until I love myself the way I was supposed to. And there were things happening in my life and people who have come into my life that have shaken my esteem and broken my spirit. And that had to be mended in order for me to even realize, I'm like, wait a minute, Mila. And I say this to my patients now. When they need to lose weight, I'm like, you have children, right? Yes. How old are they? 7 and 10. Do you want to see them get married and have children? Yes. How many overweight 70 and 80-year-olds do you know? None. You're going to be dead. You won't be here 40 years from now to see your 7-year-old be a full-fledged mom and be married and be thriving in her career and see what she actually does in this world. You won't be here because you are way too overweight. And so we can't fix this with plastic surgery, because I can do the surgery. It's not going to make your whole body smaller. If I attempt to do that, she'll end up like some of these women that I saw last night, dying of hemorrhaging from too much blood loss because somebody tried to do whole body lipo on somebody. That's not compatible with life. Whole body lipo is called exercise, honey, and backing up from the table, child. That's how you get whole body lipo. You don't try to get your whole body surgerized at one time. This is how. So I literally say that, like, do you want to live and see your kids be grown? Be a grandmother, maybe even a great-grandmother? Like, I want to meet my grandkids. So I had that realization for myself, and that's the thing about me. When I have a realization for myself, my poor patients, honey, they get my realizations when they come in there doing the crazy stuff I was doing. Walk with Jesus. I'm like, this is how I started. How you walk so long? I will walk for 4 hours, 6 hours. I've walked for 8 hours before. You know how? Listening to Steak and Potatoes. You can't walk 8 hours listening to gospel music. You will get tired of it. I can walk forever and I will be out here 3 hours and not even realize it because of the stories in my ear from the Bible. The stories in my ear from the Bible or from the books that I'm listening to. And I've listened to, oh my God, I've been through so many books. So I'll listen to them, and if they're really good, then I buy them. And then in my prayer room that y'all saw, I'll sit in there. Sometimes I'll read and listen at the same time, because I'm trying to literally reset my default to that of the Holy Spirit, because it's not. None of us are. Oh, I'm gonna give you an example. This is kind of funny. Yesterday morning, I got up early. I'm like, ooh, let me go in here and do my my devotion. So I'm reading. Yesterday I was reading. I read 1st and 2nd Thessalonians and 1st Timothy, and I was into 2nd Timothy. I was rolling. My brother sends me a text message asking me about my boys' rooms. And so, like, because he was planning for Christmas gifts for them. And so the question he asked, I was like, this is going to take too long. So I called him. Now, I was listening and reading those books in the Bible, right? So I had it on my Bluetooth speaker, like the bigger speaker, so the sound was big. So I called my brother, and I had him on speaker on my phone. I'm telling you, all this is gonna make sense in a second. I had him on speaker on my phone, and we were talking about, he wanted to get them basketball hoops to put on their doors, so he was trying to figure out if they shared a room, and so we're talking about it, and then the boys come downstairs. They're all rubbing their eyes, so they walked into the prayer room, and I was like, good morning, baby boy. Like I always say that. Did you have a good sleep? I say that every day. Good morning. I call both of them baby boy, even though they're not babies no more. They my babies. And I asked them, did they have a good sleep? And Bennett was like, he was like, I'm going back to sleep. And I was annoyed because when I saw them coming down the stairs, I had to take the phone off speaker so they wouldn't hear what my brother was saying, because he was trying to plan their Christmas gifts and I didn't want them to hear that. So when I went to go take them off speaker, it picked up on my Bluetooth big speaker, and I'm like futzing around, and so it was kind of like a little bit of drama to get him into my ears where my kids couldn't hear. So after I went through all of that, and then this kid come down the stairs talking about, oh, I'm going back to sleep. I said, well, what the hell you come downstairs for then? Like, I snapped like that. And my brother started cracking up laughing. He said, how you go from good morning, baby boy, how was your sleep, to what the hell you coming downstairs for then? Because our default setting is not godly. I was sitting there with my Bible open, had been reading it for a few hours and listening to it in a good mood. And just because of the annoyance of me trying to get him off of speaker so they couldn't hear, and then this kid tells me he going back to bed, I'm like, my default was the devil. I went off. It was nothing to go off about. I could have asked, oh, well, why did you come downstairs? But that's the point I'm making. We switch over to not the Holy Spirit default so easily. So easily. You have to be paying attention. And the way this world is set up right now, we are being brainwashed to believe stuff that ain't true, and believe things about ourselves that's not true. And, you know, the way certain things are just funneled into our eyes and ears constantly, you end up feeling like you're not enough. And this is part of why women have become so obsessed with these butts. Like, the surgery itself, or like getting a BBL, is not bad. It's the stuff that's attached to it that I have a problem with, a visceral reaction to. The only patients that I have come to me that is almost like they will literally be like, and I'm literally like, listen, I'm probably not the person. They will literally be like, so is it gonna be this? Is it? And this is the butt people. I just need to make sure it's gonna have projection right, because you see right here, and like when I turn it side, and I'm like, oh my God, like it's almost like they're possessed. It's that stuff needs to be sorted out before we go doing anything, because if not, you'll end up multiple rounds. So you keep giving people chances to kill you. Surgery is kind of dangerous. That surgery is kind of dangerous. It has the highest death rate of anything, but people don't care. They'll leave their 3 kids and their husband home and go to Miami or DR or Mexico, and to somebody who got a plastic surgery factory rolling them out to get that butt, knowing full well they might die. Like, literally, if I really thought somebody was gonna die, I'm not doing it. Like, it can happen. Stuff can happen. Let me knock on wood. The Lord has watched over me, and that has not happened on my hands, and I pray to God that it never does. What I can tell you is, if something like that did happen, you better believe that Dr. Myla Bennett Powell did everything her humanly possible that she could know about to prevent it. It would be a fluke. It would be a fluke. It wouldn't be no every week and every day somebody from my practice is dying. That would not be the case. And if it turned into something like that, I would shut it down, because that's not why I'm here. And I don't want God to be like, what were you doing to my daughters down there? I don't want him doing that. So, heart check, soul check is what we all need, whether you want some surgery or weight loss or not. And your hurdle might be, at least mine was, my hurdle in overcoming the weight loss, despite chefs cooking for me and trainers coming and running me outside of my yard to exercise, my hurdle was my spirit. That was my hurdle. Check and see what's up inside. Like, it's usually always more. And my patients will tell you, like, when they come for consult, I'm like an arrow God pulls out of his quiver and shoots them at people to kind of activate things and start to pull the scales off. Like, literally, when I meet people, I have conversation and I'm surveying for the entry point. Like, what is it? What is it that she needs healed? Because when God sends people to me, it's not just for surgery. It's not for, like, I recognize that now. It's not just for surgery. Literally, I would say not everybody, but most, like 80-90% of the people who consult with me, we end up in a conversation about something that has absolutely nothing to do with their surgery. Nothing. And they'll be sitting there, I'll ask a random question that God drops on my spirit that has nothing to do with anything, and tears will start flowing. I'm like, oh, that's why she's here. And I'll tell them, that's why you're here. Because he don't send them to me for lipo. They get the lipo. But they leave a better woman because of what God uses me to activate inside of them. And then they head on down that journey of revelation and growth, you know. And so that's why my consults take longer, because I actually talk to the people about them. You know, like, stuff comes out, and then we can make sure that this person has a successful process of transformation, not just physical transformation. And I accept the call, and I'm grateful that God chose me, and I understand why God made me a plastic surgeon, because he sees that a lot of the women who are seeking this out, there's other stuff that they need to be worked on, and he uses me to help them see that. You know, he uses me to help them see that. And I'm kind of stubborn. Like, when they try to be like pushing, I push back. You know, like, I'm not afraid, because I understand what God is doing with me, and I'm a sold out soldier for Christ. Like, and I want to help his daughters. I want to help his daughters. I don't want to hurt his daughters. I'm not trying to hurt his daughters. Like, so that's why I shared that. Because I want you all to, like, you know, just think about, pray for God to show you where he wants you to start. Because what I did see was that it was a lot of things that he needed to purify and perfect in my heart. And he starts with one thing, and then he's so gentle. He starts with one thing, and then you start working on that, and then when he sees you have that mastered, then he throws another thing at you. It's so gentle. It's not. He has changed so much stuff in me in the last year. And when I look back at me last year and me now, I'm like, wow. And I am so in love with who I am. I'm so in love with who I am. And it was always in there. He needs the time to just kind of like mold us, you know. We pop out kind of like as the rough draft, and then he starts doing the tweaks to make us be an A+, you know? And a lot of times people are just living on the rough draft. I don't want to live on the rough draft. Purify and perfect me, Lord. So I think he made me get fat so that I can have this process. I think that's why he did that. Because I never had issues with my weight. This just happened. 3 years I've been struggling with my weight. 3 years? 3? You see how you see how God do? 3. And finally it's coming together. And I haven't been weighing myself because I just didn't want to. It's so easy to slip back into the old way of stuff. So easy to slip back into the old way of stuff. And so the second I start weighing myself and counting calories and all of this stuff, then I forget that I'm supposed to be doing this thing with Jesus. So don't ask me how much weight I lost because I don't know. I don't care. I can tell that I ain't lost enough, so I'm gonna keep doing. Well, I'm not gonna ever stop doing this stuff, but I haven't lost enough. I'm happy with my progress. I thank God for giving me this as a gift for my obedience to Him, because that's how I see this. Oh, this is the icing. You know, like He's like, here, daughter, here you go for your faithfulness and obedience to getting in relationship with me. Here, sugar. Daddy gonna peel some of that stomach off your body. That's how I see it. So when you walk with Jesus, if you decide to walk with Jesus, I hope all of y'all decide to walk with Jesus. Don't be listening to gospel music on the walk. Listen to it before and after. Listen to something real. Pour. We don't have a problem pouring the housewives into our eyes and Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B into our ears. But then listening to the Bible is a problem, or reading it is a problem. Like, that don't make a lot of sense. And then we wonder why our world is like it is and our kids are like they are, you know. So anyway, if y'all enjoyed this, I do this like on my Walks with Jesus page normally. So you can follow that page. It's called My Walks with Jesus if you want to get more spiritual food from me, because as the Lord dishes it out, I serve it. But I will put up, for the people in the comments who are asking about this stuff I've been using, it's a few things. They have a system, and I've been doing everything in the system except one step I haven't been doing because I've been fasting. And so I don't want to like make myself hungrier when I'm fasting, because it's something that helps burn even more. But when I'm done fasting, I'll start taking that too. But it's a system. So I'll put a swipe up to that in my story. But I'm not really trying to post that on my profile. So I'll put a swipe up to that in my story for y'all. For Facebook, just DM me. All right, I'm gonna get back to Jesus. You guys have a blessed day. And I just challenge you to allow God to work on your rough draft, so you could be the A+ version of yourself. And I'm gonna go live this evening and talk about death by plastic surgery. All right, bye.